thank you again for joining us. I'm hoping that you're getting interactive straight away. Get onto Facebook, JoyNews on TV. We also stream the live just in case you're getting out of home, you want to get to the office or wherever you want to go into town. You can always catch us live. And same goes for our Twitter handle at JoyNews on TV. We'll be joined on the stream by Gifty. Gifty and our PR already up and running in her home. So zooming from home. I love the way Sandra seems to always say it. And I'm bringing you the zooming from home. Gifty, you're zooming from home. Good morning to you.
Yo, I am zooming from home indeed. Good morning. How are you?
Chala, a day. Thank you for the eggs yesterday. That's so lovely of you. I didn't know you were that romantic.
I actually wanted to present it in a nicer way, but I have to leave it the way it was because I waited for you, sir.
Well, it was still good.
Excuse me, what are you guys talking about?
No, we seem to have a certain telepathy now, so we're always interacting.
Oh, hi, Gifty.
Hi, Mama V. I hear you, but you sound miles away. Oh, that's a beautiful dress.
Thank you. It's another collection from Ajoyabwa Clothing.
And it's Ajoyabwa making some for me.
When do you want it? Just say it. It will be done.
Today.
Okay, guys. We're on to the newspapers. Gifty, which papers are you doing?
So I have the Ghanaian Times right now, if you want me to go through it. So the banner headline for Ghanaian Times is $200 million boost for cocoa production. And it comes with a picture of Mr. Joseph Boahen, who's a Chief Executive Officer for CEO, Acting Chief Executive Officer for Cocoa Board. And then, okay, I didn't add the rest of the banner headline. It says $200 million boost for cocoa production as Cocoa Board secures loan for productivity enhancement program. And beneath that banner headline, there's a picture of President Akufo-Addo, and the story is ensure strict adherence to COVID-19 safety protocols. And then government undertakes disinfection exercise for 112 basic schools in Savannah region, and Finance Ministry fails to account for ABFA for third time, according to PIAC. Let's see what we have on the back page of the Ghanaian Times newspaper. So we have Volta region gets 2 more COVID-19 isolation center. Hooray, that's some good news there. Okay. And then we have Central Regional Minister commends school heads for COVID-19 combat readiness. Okay, the devil is always in the detail, isn't it? So these are the stories that you can find on the front page and the back page of the Ghanaian Times newspaper. Mama B. Roland.
Okay, let me continue. The Daily Graphic newspaper is what I have. Front page of the Graphic. Provide roadmap on pollution control. Professor Frimpong Boateng demands of steel company. Government engaging police on nose mask enforcement. Electoral Commission compilation of the 2020 voters register. So it looks like there's an update in the graphic, but we do know that there's been a third suit, but unlike the earlier 2, this one is at the High Courts, and this is from the Ashaman MP Ernest Nogbe, who wants the High Court to rule that the EC does not have the mandate to compile a new register. The court will be busy this morning. The Supreme Court will hear legal arguments from the NDC, Attorney General, and EC relating to the first 2 cases. Still on the front page of the Daily Graphic newspaper, Cocoa Board receives $200 million to fund productivity. In the center spread of the paper, there is a special supplement on banking in Thursday's issue. Okay, so that will be tomorrow, not today's issue. In the center spread of the Daily Graphic, here we go. 2 envoys bid farewell to President Akufo-Addo. COVID-19 Trust Fund raises 51.54 million Ghana cedis in 2 months. And health facilities debts frustrates farmer firms. Also another story in the center spread. And on the back page, World Food Program gives cash equipment to the Ministry of Food and Agriculture to track COVID-19 impact. And register excavators for community mining, a call by the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources, Kweku Asoma, Treme. That's it for the Daily Graphic newspaper. Let me just quickly continue with the Finder. Front page of the Finder, operations of National Ambulance Service. Over 12,000 emergency trips in 5 months, more than 1 million Ghana cedis spent on fuel. Government engaging police on interpretation of EI 164, according to Information Minister Kojo Ponkroma. It goes back to the essence of the law. If it's going to be used against a single person who's sitting in a private vehicle, and if that constitutes you being in public, and so if you're not wearing the mask, then the law can be used against you, then we have to look at it definitely again. There's something Ladi Ayenini who is calling for some work to be done on it, not just the interpretation. Let's see. So something is advocating an interpretation, all right, also from the courts on amendments of portions of the EI that empowers the police to arrest anyone driving alone without a face mask. All right, back on the front page of the Finder, PIAC wants Finance Ministry to account for 1.5 billion Ghana cedis annual budget funding amounts. Okay, and then the government engaging police on interpretation of the EI. So that's by way of what's on the front page of the Finder newspaper today. That's how it looks. And earlier, I did the Daily Graphic newspaper. That's it, the front page. Roland?
Well, so let's do the custodian. The custodian has on the front page, money bags weaken parliament. MPs cry out after NPP Tsunami primaries. And Awudu Mahama, the managing editor, is always making sure that these stories tend to find the front page. So we have also down there, Speaker, though, Okwe consoles vanquished MPs. And I heard his words yesterday. He did say, you win some, you lose some. Only that this very loss is a big loss, massive losses, so to speak. Now we have government also engaging police on face mask enforcement. We brought that live to you. That interaction will go there today, ultimately based on the information we're getting at 10 o'clock. But Sanirigu MC cuts out for road project. And the MPA boss is expected to retain Gushegu's seat for NPP. According to the custodian, he is Hassan Tampoli. He is the current MPA chief executive. Right. Let's do the Daily Dispatch newspaper. Has on the front page, dealing with the pain and anger in NPP. Chief of Staff heads NPP's Conflict Resolution Committee. And it is expected that because it is the Chief of Staff, who also has been a member of Parliament before, everything, Bibia Beye fine. Usukura Usa. Any problem. So we have John Mahama declares this. NDC will respect the verdict of Supreme Court on voters register. No problem. And then there's an advert, a poster really, on the front page of the Dispatch. It features a nurse, I think a St. Mary's student, so senior high school, and then an ordinary person in small. So if you're in senior high school, secondary school, and you're 18, the Electoral Commission says, Charlie, hurry up and come and register. It will start on Monday. We'll bring you all the details right here on the AM show from Monday. We'll bring you some of the previews for that conversation. Up there, though, which is the inside of the Daily Dispatch, basic schools in Savannah region disinfected. No yawa. No yawa. Vum yazo. Everything is good. Disinfection amid the spread of coronavirus. Let's go to the Daily Guide newspaper. It has on the front page, NDC, we apostle free on 100,000 Ghana cedi bail. Charlie, who needs cow say drone? Bill, 100,000, fresh. 2 envoys bid farewell to Nana. So we had Andrew Barnes and other officials as well. This morning also we featured the Chinese ambassador, outgoing ambassador. And then we have Supreme Court dismisses Giba suit and Mahama beats retreat on new register. Says that NDC will respect verdict of Supreme Court. All right, I think I'm done.
Okay, so I see two more papers untouched. The Ghanaian Observer newspaper front page says on the NPP primaries, don't give ammunition to NDC. Fred Blay charges losing aspirants. Minority leader calls for national conversation on party primaries. Ekufuado task heads of basic schools over safety of students against COVID-19. Government defense face mask sanctions. Okay, the Daily Statesman, last paper, Daily Statesman, front page, Health Ministry to re-engage police over implementation of mask wearing law. Re-engage police over implementation. But we know that a legal practitioner, Samson Ladi Ayenini, says he needs an interpretation. NDC members confused as Mahama clashes with Ofosuampo over votes registration. Government will ensure schools adhere to COVID-19 protocols, assures President Ekufuado. So that's what's on the front page of the Statesman. On the back, on Djokovic, world #1 becomes latest tennis player to test positive for coronavirus under a certain circumstance that could have been avoided. We'll talk about it in sports when Benedict joins us. But that's it, Gifty. Is there a story of interest?
I think that will be is it the custodian? The custodian, the one that has the story about the money bag and how it can crush our politics. I think that will be my take. It's a discussion that we've had over and over again. And like we do here perfectly in Ghana, we'll talk, rehash the conversation. Sometimes it gets boring, it gets really tiring. But yeah, this is our lot. This is something that we have to really check. We're talking about money. And yesterday I listened to the interview on Top Story with Kojo Menu and Peter McMenu, who tries very hard to answer the questions that Kojo Menu was asking him in a very nice way. He was saying things as if this is not. He said, well, they can't rely on media reports. Nobody has complained to them about vote buying or monetization anywhere, so they're waiting for that. I think that we continue to play the ostrich, and this thing will come back one day to hit us. Look, the NPP is to blame. The NDC is to blame because they do it. I mean, both parties will do it. Even when they are in opposition, they still some way, somehow find a way of introducing money into the politics. And it's like we have done it to a point where we are now stuck. It's so deeply rooted in our politics. And we keep talking about it as if someone else has to take it, yank it off us. It won't go away if we keep pretending, because we know that by all means, the next election, we'll still see money at play. So for me, it's interesting that the story is done, but it's the conversation and the hypocrisy that comes with it that, you know, sometimes... I want to use the word, but I won't. That's, you know, just sets me off. Yes, that's what I was saying.
Don't use the word. Don't use the word.
And it's also getting really expensive. It's getting expensive. Yeah. I had people paying dollars.
Yeah, so yesterday I spoke to Parker when he came back from Parliament, and he said that there was one member of Parliament who lost. He said that in his first election, he paid 50 cedis per delegate. In the second election, and he won. In the second election, he paid 100 cedis per delegate. So it had increased. In the third election, which was the recent primaries, he said he had to pay 10 times what he paid earlier. The 100 cedis that he paid, he had to pay 10 times, and he lost. But the good thing I see with it is that the delegates or the voters are becoming much more sophisticated, so that it's they're not necessarily influenced by the money. Some are, to be honest, but they're not necessarily influenced by the money, so that you give them the money and they'll still vote against you. That's why that the other MP who says they send bicycles and whatever is going after his bicycles. I mean, I'm excited.
Okay, so Gifty's feed is frozen a little bit. She will definitely come back. But I was also just thinking, Roland, is it not because perhaps somebody is paying a lot more? Somebody is given television, given blenders, given cylinders, given cash. Someone is given $500. I've heard $1,000 in some instances, depending on how big or influential that you're known to be as a delegate. If you're given a bicycle and somebody is given $500, somebody would probably vote for the person who is given the $500. So it's not necessarily they're taking it and not voting for you. They will take it and vote for someone, by all means.
Yes, but if you look at the way the 40 MPs lost, you know, there were a lot of concerns that have been raised by some of the delegates, the people who wanted to contest them before we got to that primary. So there was some underlying current within those constituencies as to whether they were going to lose or not lose. So perhaps maybe the thinking was that if I could give more, then ultimately I would win. Indeed, in many of the varied conversations that we're having based on the report, those who tend to give more won variedly. But there are also those who gave and still lost. So my take from all this conversation, and I also wanted to pick this as well. And the early years when I started reporting, the politician just gave food and maybe some textiles, you know, cloth or something like that, and that was enough. Now they give electrical appliances. They even don't give only blenders. Some give TVs. Some give fridges. Some even go as far as sharing the dollars that you talk about. Either they win or they lose. But I think it is because if you look at the spectrum of our society, we have politicians who live with us in the communities, who are classmates, who we have seen in the public space, who rise up, ultimately get into parliament or into the political space and look better off because they are driving in four-wheel drives. The houses that they were living in now becomes bigger. They move even out of the constituency many of the times, and they don't tend to interact with their constituents. Meaning you can come and wait for an MP for hours before he will come and see you or she will come and see you. And the constituents seem to think that when we vote for you, you don't come back to us unless it is time for you to come and seek our mandate. So it is their time, that opportune period when you want to seek their votes, that they say, we want to exact our pound of flesh. You are enjoying the national cake, and this is the time for us to also enjoy. I don't think it is bad at all, because the politicians themselves, since the onset of democracy in the Fourth Republic, have created this. So they are all to blame for it. It is an NPP and an NDC affair. I heard Sami Jemfi the other day saying that there was opulence being displayed. The NDC also displayed opulence at the time. There were cylinders, there were fridges, there were things that were marked with party stickers, etc., branded for purposes of getting the electorate to vote for them. The politicians need to think, is that how we want to rule our country? It means that wherever you got the money from, and buying a flat screen is no cheap business. We all do know that. And
you're buying for, in this case, sometimes over 400, over 500 delegates.
So if you are paying this much for the delegates, herein you have been doing a lot for them. You've been paying school fees, so before that delegates conference or congress, you've been paying school fees already, doing funeral donations, doing this and that. Before that time, then it means that you are getting money from a source that you know is definitely going to be a constant. And so you're spending, you have no worry at all in the world. And
some take loans, actually.
The delegates are seeing this. So they say, look, you have to give us our share. We don't see you throughout the 4 or 3.5 years unless you're coming to us. And it has even extended beyond the delegates to the general voter population. So after the delegates, then they go to the general voter population. Mind you, these are the strongholds. And if they win the vote of the delegates, they have won. Exactly. They can choose either to intensify the campaign or reduce the intensification. They will still win anyway.
Well, they will only campaign because they want to impress the president by getting the numbers.
Yes.
But in most of these areas that we reported on last Saturday, it's a done deal, really. You are in parliament already.
I mean, for many of the places, maybe parts of central region, western region, but I think majority of it, about 98%, they're already in parliament. So what's the big deal? They are not going to give that money to the voters. Because when the voters ask them, then it is the places where they don't have seats, that's where they have to impress the general voters. But this one, the voters that you have to impress are the delegates.
The delegates are the kingmakers in this case.
It is not the right thing to do, but the politicians have created this scenario.
I also heard Peter Makumeno call for maybe a certain law that we will put in place to curb this. I'm not sure how that would.
Well,
I mean,
in the UK,
do we need?
in the
because
UK,
I think he mentioned that in other places
yes,
they've got
in the
laws
UK,
to deal
for
with
example, the electioneering is 3 months to the voting. So that's their rule, and the rule is that you don't start campaigning until it's 3 months to the election. So it makes a lot of sense. And mind you, the needs of the voters in the developed world are not the same needs. For us,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the politics is played differently.
We are deprived. Man, we are deprived, and that's the reality of our situation.
Well, it's a homegrown issue, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is Gifty back with us? Okay, Gifty is not. Let's see if we can do 2 more stories, Roland. Is there another story before we do my joyonline.com?
I saw, apart from this, I saw the story on the front page of the Dispatch, and I wanted to take a look at it. It's about the Chief of Staff, who has been a member of Parliament for the Ayawaso West Wogon constituency. Now Chief of Staff, Madam Fremont Parry, a former minister as well, who is leading this. And I've interacted with her over the years, and I think she's somebody who, given this responsibility, is going to do good. We need not a man, but a woman.
Okay, so what is she leading exactly?
She's leading the Conflict Resolution Committee, post-election conflict.
Of the NPP?
Yes.
Okay.
Because the conflict is that people feel peeved. Before the election, there were individuals who felt they were unfairly disqualified, unfairly excluded from the election. Now, even after this election, there are people who have lost. We're talking about 41 members of Parliament who felt that they were contributing significantly but had lost. So they'll be aggrieved. They need to be brought on board so that they're part.
Yeah, those who are threatening to go independent.
And I believe that maybe that's the way to go. But definitely.
Okay. So what's the makeup of the committee? Because that's also crucial. If you find
I do know that for
somebody who
I do know that for the Ashanti region they have Henry Kwabena Kufu, which I have a problem with, because if you see
he's aligned.
Yes, he
clearly.
is very much aligned.
Yes,
so
he's with,
when he's supposed to go and reconcile
the deputy chief of staff.
When he's supposed to go and reconcile Daniel Ochem Abuaji, for example, maybe he's agreed because he felt that there were delegates who apparently are public servants or maybe part of national security, and it's the reason why Daniel Ochem Abuaji was raising some of those concerns on election day, then it becomes a problem. So they have to take a look at it. But the story doesn't really indicate the members of the committee, but it just says that Madam Fremont Opare is leading this committee. And I think that these are well-meaning people that are going to be part of this committee. So ultimately, we're going to have some positive outcome.
But it's also it's hard to believe that even though the party had indicated to us ahead of the primaries that they had been notified, one by the Electoral Commission, and they themselves had been notified of a writ seeking to injunct the primaries in the Asante Achim North. There was Subing as well. There was one more area. Exactly. It's surprising that even though the Electoral Commission did not supervise the election, it still went ahead. And it's very hard to find a concrete reason. Yesterday, I was listening to Ekosi saying on Asempa FM, and the member of parliament, the sitting MP who retained according to what was conducted. Exactly. Who is also a lawyer, saying that, well, he is just an applicant. It doesn't matter to him who was supervising the election. Once he was notified that the thing was going to take place, he just went through the process. And I think that is sad, really, because if the party itself, national, had mentioned to us and the Electoral Commission stayed away from the process, how do you still say that you conducted the election?
No, but let's be clear. The Electoral Commission is brought in by the parties just for credibility.
Yes, there is a reason they bring them. Yes, and there's a reason it was Electoral Commission throughout the other areas.
Fine.
Yes.
But if the Electoral Commission is not part and parcel of the process of elections in anybody or the political party, it doesn't make the election illegal.
But I'm saying that
if the
how do you tell us on Friday? So how do you tell us on Friday that you've received this and the Electoral Commission also has confirmed. And so you are staying away from it. It's the party that told us that.
Yes.
And then there was election on Saturday. How do you put the two together? That's just the issue that I'm raising. Gifty, we lost you on the, I don't know, is it vote buying or is just the process getting too expensive? You were making a comment on that. I'm not sure you quite concluded. Hi, Gifty. Okay, all right. Gifty is still frozen. We can see your beautiful face, by the way. Let's do my
people who live in the eastern region.
Gifty. What's your issue with the eastern region? Like, what's wrong with living in the eastern region?
You know, when you live outside Accra, the reception is usually.
Well, you think Accra has everything?
I'm not saying Accra. I mean, my area doesn't have anything.
Let's do myjawline.com. Is there any other issue before we do myjawline.com? All right, let's go to myjawline.com. Let's see what's on that page. Here we go. Ekufuado apologizes to Muhammadu Buhari over demolition of property at Nigerian High Commissioner's residence. Roland, I have not heard, because I know the Foreign Affairs Ministry said it was going to investigate. I haven't heard what has come out of that investigation.
I think it's too early. It's just a day.
You also haven't? Okay. I was just checking with you.
Yes, but I had the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. The minister
say they were going to investigate.
This, yes.
Okay. So that's the latest with the president apologizing. Liberia's education minister flown into Ghana for COVID-19 treatment, and this was also raising some kind of issues because people said, oh, the borders are closed. But check this, borders are closed, but we still bring in persons when it becomes necessary. COVID-19 is a satanic agenda to stop Christians from going to church. That's according to Bishop Charles Ajenasari. I think this is one of those issues that, can we just open this up because we want to understand where he's coming from.
And I watched this, so it's a video. So
Marley, our director, it would be good to open it up if you can.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Let's read a bit of it so we can get, we don't take him out of context here. So the founder and general overseer of the Perez Chapel International has chastised the total disregard for the coronavirus preventive protocols by some institutions and individuals. He says it is unfair that the same law is applied to people differently when church activities continue to be restricted to curb the spread of the virus. The bishop, in a video posted on his Instagram page, described as absurd how people can go about their normal activities without fear of contracting the virus until the issue of church service comes up. Quote, it is not amazing to you that people are okay to go and vote in primaries. They are not afraid that they will get coronavirus. They are okay to go to the market and not afraid to get coronavirus. So there's a lot more to what he said.